coming to you from the Edge Podcast Studios at South Mountain, Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to the Edge Podcast with MikeG. Buckle up, Edge Nation. It's about to get real.
Hello and welcome to the Edge Podcast. This is MikeG, and I have in studio today a very special guest. Her name is Gail Rae-Garwood. Gail is a chronic kidney disease awareness advocate, and she's also a writer, a public speaker, and a former actor and educator. Mm-hmm. You've had a very full life.
I have. All you have to do is tell me I can't do it, and I'll find a way to do it.
Yeah. Well, you can't do a podcast.
Let's not get me started. I want to concentrate on writing right now.
Awesome. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
So great to have you. And so, I love to just get to find out about people. And so the questions that I ask oftentimes, people are like, what are you asking that for? But just humor me. Trust me, it'll be a lot of fun. So let's just start with, where are you from? Let's get to know you. Where are you from?
I'm from New York. I was born in the Bronx. I remember nothing about it. When I was very, very young, we moved to Elmont, which is on Long Island, still in New York. I remember very, very little about that too. And then I guess I was in junior high. We moved into Forest Hills, or Rego Park, which is in Queens. I went to Forest Hills High School.
Did you?
And I remember very little about that too.
Oh.
College was Hunter College of the City University of New York for both the BA and the MA. And it was in college that I started to grow. It was in college that I realized my little teeny world that was prescribed by my mom and my dad and the family I grew up in was not all there was. And I was astounded and delighted. And I couldn't get enough. All these new subjects, all these new thoughts, all these new experiences, all these new people. For a shy kid, this was really something.
Wow. And so you had an awakening of sorts.
Oh, yeah. What a difference college made for me.
Oh, wow. And so you recommend it to anybody, right?
Yes and no. I mean, there are people who don't want college. I taught in a vocational high school on Staten Island in New York, and there were kids there that definitely did not want college. They wanted a vocation. They're making far more money than I ever made, and the big thing is they're happy.
Yeah.
They love what they're doing.
Yeah.
So to force a kid into college, no. I have a young cousin who is brilliant, always has been, but she's also heavy metal, and she wanted to go touring in Europe with her group, whose name I forgot. I'm really, really sorry. Devin Bernard. And she decided after doing all this, she must have been in her mid-20s, she decided she was going to college, and she's graduating probably now or next week.
Oh, wow.
With some kind of terrific honor because she's ready and she wanted it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to her on that.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. So you mentioned that you have a BA and an MA. What do you have a BA in and what do you have an MA in?
I have a BA in English and I have an MA in communications. And this was all the way back in the time when they had coaxial cables. And that's what I wrote my master's thesis on.
Oh, wow.
It was a long, long time ago. And since then, I've periodically dropped back into school. I got it was an academic degree in creative writing. And that was my first graduation that I had ever been to. And I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. Never went to any graduation before. But Landmark. And my daughter Abby, who is also a Landmark graduate, between the two of them and just plain speaking, I realized I do want to go.
Wow.
So I went.
So you got inspired and you took action.
I did.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So real quick, for people that might not know what Landmark is, let me just say what they are. Landmarkworldwide.com is the place that you can go to find out about Landmark. They have a whole host of just incredible programs for the professional, for the person who's looking to advance themselves either relationally with family members, etc. And I've had amazing breakthroughs. I recommend Landmark Worldwide. So thank you for mentioning that.
Something on that too. When I was a younger woman, I taught for Siegel, which is the same kind of company, personal development. And when Abby asked me if I'd like to go to Landmark, my reaction was, why? I've taught this stuff. What do I have to go to Landmark for? And yet I went and I found the onion unpeeling more and more and more. And I have to say, life is so much better without the stories I used to tell myself, the drama I got involved with. They're just so unnecessary.
Yeah. You get actually streamline your life once you remove the bullshit.
Yeah.
Really.
And you streamline who's in your life, and that is fine with me.
Wow.
I know who I
Yeah.
want in my life, and I know who I don't want in my life.
It's powerful. So, Gail, your education took you into, obviously you have a degree with English, and so did that is that what took you into education, or was it something else?
No, what took me into education was an English teacher in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember his name. I do remember him up in front of the classroom, and he inspired me. He just inspired me. I was always this quiet kid that loved to read and hated to speak out in class or go up to the front of the room, and I didn't do it in his room either, but I listened, and he talked, and I listened. And then I got to college, and there was a teacher of Shakespeare who acted out the scenes. She was a sub.
Wow.
And boom, right away I became an actor. It was amazing.
Wow.
Talk about opening up your horizons.
No kidding. Talk about some of the places where you've performed.
Oh, back in New York, I did a lot of off Broadway and off Broadway. I started out with community theater. I went to Lee Strasberg acting school, and it gave me a really good foundation.
Wow.
And that's when I was teaching, because you teach during the day, you go to school at night.
Right.
And I'd already had my master's, and I felt like, okay, this is where I want to go. And it was during my master's that I did start the acting. I had to take an elective, and there was something called plays, just plain plays.
That's the name of it?
Yeah. So I figured, okay, I'll take it. And Dr. Milt Polsky, who I believe is still teaching at Hunter College, had us perform. What he had us do was make up our own plays, and I'm not talking scripted.
Right.
This is all improv. The audience would say something like, okay, be a machine. And we'd say, what kind of machine? And they'd say, a locomotive type. And we would somehow contort our bodies and start making sounds and be whatever this was.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it got me out of the shyness so that I could go and do whatever I wanted. It helped a lot.
That's amazing. And have you been off Broadway or on Broadway at all?
On Broadway, no. Off Broadway, yes, but I actually have to look at the resume that I brought because I don't remember. What I found I liked the most was interactive dinner theater.
Oh, okay.
Murder mysteries.
Murder mysteries are fun.
Oh,
They're
I
so
did those for years and years in New York. And then when I came out here, you'll never guess what I started doing. Same thing.
Murder mystery.
And I'm still
Dinner
friendly
was so
with
much
some of the
fun.
people that I was in the group with. And very nice of them. They asked me to come back several times. But with chronic kidney disease, sometimes you get brain fog because you're not really getting good, clean blood through your brain. So I can't remember a whole script. And that's why I started doing film instead of stage.
Right.
Because on film, what you do is you memorize a scene, just
Right.
one scene.
Yeah.
And then when that's in the can, then you can memorize another scene.
It's so funny that you use the word the can.
It's old-fashioned.
Because it is. That's how it was. When it's in the can, you were done. But
Oh wait! I wasn't.
today.
I wasn't doing films that long ago. I mean, we're going back to 1920s,
Well, today,
1930s.
yeah, they still use that same terminology.
Yes.
I've actually heard them
Yes.
use it, but it's so funny. It's like, because I know where it comes from.
Oh,
Anyway.
I've heard directors out here, directors from the Midwest and the West Coast that have nothing to do with Broadway, use all this Yiddish because it's become stage talk.
Yeah.
And we understand it, so
Yeah.
that's what they use.
That's hilarious. I love it.
I'm looking here at my acting thing to see I forgot what your question was, frankly.
Where have you performed off Broadway?
Oh, okay. Classes.
Yes.
And this is writing, acting. Here we go. Off Broadway. Oh, television. Did television too. Off Broadway. Seaview Playwright, which I believe was community theater. That's way off Broadway.
Yep.
And I remember Alcestis was off Broadway. I had to condense this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't forget I was an actor for 40 years.
Right.
So you have to keep condensing and condensing and condensing. And what I have on here pretty much is Arizona stuff.
Okay. Well, here's what I was going to ask you, because I've heard you perform.
Oh, right.
Before.
You did.
Would you mind performing that right now?
That was ad hoc.
That was.
Talking about improv. What Mike is talking about is we were at a dinner together, and they asked offhandedly if anybody would like to perform. And I was sitting in the audience, and I was watching everybody else, and I was enjoying it. And I was going, I got to be on stage. I'm like this every time when I go to the theater, but I know that I can't remember that whole script. So I got up, and I pretended that I was somebody at an audition. And it was pretty long. It was a good 15 minutes.
Yep.
So I'm just going to do like a minute or two of it. Here's my resume. Look at it. See? I've been in plays. Two professional plays. Got it? Of course I can sing. Can't everybody? Sing and dance at the same time? Sure. Da-da, 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 da-da. Go to sleep, close your eyes. If you don't close your eyes, you can't go to sleep. You're going to call me? You're going to call me? Oh, don't call you? You're going to call me? Wait a minute. I liked it better when I thought, you're going to call me. Could you do that? Let's cut it there, because it's really, really long.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
It's a lot of fun. You're
That
welcome.
was cool. And I'm sure that every actor, actress, they probably have had that experience at least once or twice.
Oh, yeah.
In their lifetime, especially if they've been at it a minute.
And it's very hard to not
Yeah.
break out into song. I have two daughters who are singers, and they keep saying to me, Ma, please don't sing.
Yeah.
So it's very hard not to do that. And it's very hard not to do little vignettes here and there. And the two biological daughters that I've raised, whenever there's a problem and I really don't like what they're doing and I'm not getting across to them, like one of them keeps saying,
Go ahead.
yeah, I'll get to it tomorrow. Well, I was in a play and the line was, tomorrow never comes for you. And my two kids grew up in the green room, the room where the actors wait to go on stage.
Right.
And they would run lines with the other actors while they were waiting for me to finish the performance. So they know that line very well. And every time I hear, I'll do it tomorrow, I say, tomorrow never comes for you.
They know exactly what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. What would now be a good time to get that handled? I use that on my kids. So
my other thing is just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Just do it.
No need to resist or procrastinate, really.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic performance. I mean, I felt like I was the guy you were talking to. That really, like I was in this whole conversation. It was really cool. When you were teaching, did you bring a lot of acting to your teaching, or any acting to your teaching?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I taught high school. You're there with 34 people who would really rather be somewhere else doing something else.
Yeah.
You can't walk in, and even if you had a script, you can't read it. You have to act it. So that's what I would do. And I got them involved too. Like in the vocational high school, I was teaching Macbeth to 10th graders. Now, these are kids that want to be auto mechanics, beauty, cosmetic people, not cosmetology people,
yeah.
sheet metal workers, electricians. They have no interest in Macbeth, but it's New York
Yeah.
and it's required.
Right.
So what I had them do was actually set up a stage in the classroom and cast part of the play.
Huh.
They loved being the witches. And it was really, really good. And then I would ask them afterwards things like, how did that make you feel different? How did it make you understand better, if it made you understand better? And they were very honest. I mean, these kids pulled no punches. They said things I'm not sure I can say on the air.
Yeah.
Can I?
You're on the edge.
It's okay.
Oh, yeah. You
Say,
kidding?
God, it was fucking real, Miss R. It was fucking real.
I love it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Macbeth is one of my favorites too. You know, I mean, it's just so passionate. Anyway.
Yeah, my supervisor would only come into my room if it was silent. Then she'd want to know, what's wrong? Where's the noise that should be in your classroom, Gail?
You're the one that gets the pass when it's loud, and everybody else they're worried about.
Yeah.
They're worried about you on the opposite. That's funny. That's really funny. So, how long were you a teacher? How long did you as an educator did you do that?
I taught high school for, I think it was 32 years, maybe a little more. And it was 35 years, because I always have the story in my head that of the 35 years, 32 was absolutely wonderful. And the last 3 years were very much not. The last 3 years where I could see why people wanted to retire.
Yeah.
Administration changed. The kids were different. I mean, I worked with rough kids in the vocational schools, but good rough kids.
Right.
I mean, these kids, they didn't show up. They didn't do work. If they showed up, they were late, and they just felt entitled to say whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, whether or not their classmates were involved in doing something. It was very different. And I can't begin to explain why. Just it was very, very different. And I really didn't like it anymore. And my philosophy is, you do what you love, and when you don't love it anymore, you stop. But I couldn't do that.
Right.
I had 3 more years until retirement. I was a single parent at that time, and I needed the medical benefits for my kids.
Yep.
So I clearly remember the day before I retired, a young teacher saw me grading papers and making up a lesson plan for the next day and calling parents, and he said, "Aren't you retiring tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah." Isn't that great? And he said, "Yeah, but if you're retiring tomorrow, why are you doing all this? If the kids aren't coming through, it doesn't mean that you're not coming through. You're there to do a job. You do it."
Yeah. Wow, that's a great philosophy. You know, it's not on you. It's not on you what they do. It's on you what you do.
Yeah,
And how you show up in the world. That's integrity.
exactly.
Right? Doing what you say. I want to ask you about chronic kidney disease. And I don't know that we've, I think we've kind of weaved our way through a little bit of your career. Talked a little bit about,
Well, we didn't talk about the writing, and
we
that
didn't
was.
talk about the writing, but I think that's coming because I want to talk about, you're an author.
I am.
Yeah, and you've written several books. So
Actually, I've written somewhere between 11 and 15. I keep forgetting how many.
Wait,
I'll look at the resume.
we have to get that flat as soon as possible. So, but you've got several books that are available on Amazon
and Barnes and Noble.
and Barnes and Noble, and you can get them today. We're gonna go through those, but I want to talk a little bit about this passion that you have around chronic kidney disease, and because you are a sufferer of this, right?
I am.
So tell us a little bit about that. First of all, how you discovered it and the diagnosis and all that, but then talk about what you're actively doing as an advocate.
Okay. Must have been 2008. I changed doctors simply because the doctor I had was too far away, and the new doctor wanted to do all her own tests. So I said, okay, makes sense to me. You don't want somebody else's research, you want your own.
Right.
And she found that I had chronic kidney disease, which is when the kidneys are not functioning as well as they should for at least 3 months. And I looked at the numbers, not understanding what they meant. And at one point, I saw 39. So I asked her, what does that mean? And she said, well, your kidneys are functioning at 39% of their capacity. And they have been for months and months and months.
Wow.
and I thought she was telling me I was going to die right then and there. And then the next day, I had an appointment with a nephrologist who was a kidney specialist, and kidney and high blood pressure. And I was really scared then, because how do you get an appointment with a specialist the next day? That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. So he's explaining stuff to me, and I'm not understanding anything because I am so frightened. And he always ended with, do you have questions? And I was always, that was my answer.
Yeah.
I didn't even understand enough to ask questions. Well, I taught research writing in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been a nonfiction writer for about 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, time to figure out what's going on here. And I started researching and wrote my first book about chronic kidney disease, which is called What Is It and How Did I Get It?
Yeah.
Early Stage Chronic Kidney Disease. And in explaining to my readers, I really was explaining to myself what was going on.
Yeah.
And I found that it calmed me down a lot. And I got like something like 106,000 readers in 107 countries.
Mm-hmm.
They started asking me questions, and they started writing reviews, and all the reviews went towards the bent of, I wish somebody had explained this in a way I could understand it before, which worked, because before I got the chronic kidney disease, my nonfiction background was in writing study guides and how-tos and help yourself kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my reputation in that field is as a reader-friendly writer.
Okay.
So I said, oh, well, this really is doing something. Something's happening here. And that's when I got proactive. I started writing for, now I need my glasses. I started writing for the National Kidney Association. I mean, whoever asked me for Kidney Times, Renal Support Network. And then I started a blog, a weekly blog. Yeah, this one is cut down.
So you're a blogger as well?
Yes,
That's
a weekly
awesome.
blog on chronic kidney disease.
And are you still blogging? Where do we find you?
Absolutely.
Where do we find you?
I don't know. Let me look at my business card.
Take a look.
Don't remember anything these days. Okay. The business card says that you find me at http:// Gail Rae-Garwood, one word, and Ray has an E in it, .wordpress.com.
Okay.
Now, my readers said to me, this is very nice, but not everybody that wants this information has a computer. So I said, okay, do they have iPads? They said, no. So I said, okay, what are you saying? They said, make it into a book. Put it in print for us.
Oh, so your blog became...
My blog, well, here's the first book.
Okay,
The
let's take a look
one
at that.
was helping me figure out what the heck was going on in my life and that I wasn't going to die right away.
Put that up
Can you
there.
see that up there?
How's that look? Yeah.
Okay. So then with my readers' requests, I made this one, which was actually this one also, but it was so big, I had to make it into two books. And then I figured out, number one, the title is unwieldy. How many times can you cut and paste the book of blogs, moderate stage chronic kidney disease?
Right.
So I decided for this last year that I would simply slow it down and use the brand name. Slow it down, CKD, and then put the year under it. So you know there's going to be into 2016, 2017.
It's coming, yeah. That's exciting.
I mean, I have no intention of dying anytime soon. What else did I do? I did book talks wherever I was invited. I talked to different associations whenever they wanted somebody to come in and talk to them about chronic kidney disease. I was profiled in the WJS.
Wall Street Journal?
There you go. WSJ. Okay.
WSJ.
And other places. I would apologize for my memory, except that this is me. This is what it's like. Oh, Dear Annie. I was asked to write Dear Ann to to write a chronic kidney disease blurb question on Dear Annie, which is like, I don't know what we call it in the East, but it's an advice column.
Yeah.
National Kidney Foundation, Kidney Steps, twice, Kidney Times. The blog and book were mentioned in the Federal Register. Neuropathy Doctors News, Neff Cure Foundation, which is interesting because that's a different kind of kidney disease. WorldsLeadingExpert.com, Glendale Community College, Gaucho Gazette. I led a tweet chat, which was interesting. That was brand new to me.
Wow.
I was interviewed on Online with Andrea twice, and Dr. Rich Snyder twice. And the first time I was interviewed with him, it was with all the big hitters, and I was like, I don't know what that means. Rich, what does this mean? Rich, maybe I should be quiet and just let you guys talk. But I learned. The Arizona Kidney Disease and High Blood Pressure Company, known as AKDHC, put out flyers in their waiting rooms for the first book. Life Option links the book. And let's see what else. Oh, Kevin MD, which is, it's a big deal for those in the medical field. It Is What It Is, which is a personal blog from one of my readers, and Working with Chronic Illness. Gosh.
So you've got
I'm
quite
impressed.
the resume.
I never look at this stuff. I just sit down and write.
And what inspired you to start writing in the very beginning?
My fear.
Really?
I didn't understand what was going on. I thought I was going to die. I wasn't ready.
Well, you wrote before that, though. I mean, you were
Oh,
writing
in the very beginning?
Yeah, in the very beginning.
Oh, gosh, that was a long time ago. I had just become a single parent. This reader-friendly stuff, I was very good at lesson plans for the vocational kids so they could understand the classics,
Right,
literary terms, things like that, how to write a certain kind of paper. And they turned into books when my then supervisor at MikeG Vocational Technical, his name was Dr. Gary Levy, I don't remember his last name. Sorry, Gary. He asked point blank, is there anyone who was willing to write for a company that published such books? And I said to him, well, if they let me write my stuff, and don't tell me what to write, I could do that. I needed the income. So that worked well.
Yeah.
And then it went into my students at the school came to me and said, I really don't know what to do here. I'm supposed to write this paper for a different class, and I don't know how to do it. So that became another book. Guide to Literary Terms became another book, and it just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to do it. I really enjoyed it very much. I had some absolutely wonderful editors at Research Education Associates, which I don't think exists anymore, out of New Jersey.
Oh.
So that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's too bad. Well, I mean, it's fascinating to just to look at the panoply of your life and how that's all, just flowed into what you do now, and it's exciting, and also it's something for people to look at and see, when they find something they love. Oh yeah. Then you can really develop mastery in that and get paid. Right.
One thing I'm not so sure about, I have my first fiction. I've done short stories, but this is my first full-length fiction, and I have been reworking it for 8 years, and I just picked it up again, and I'm reading this stuff, and my husband's outside, and I'm in my office, and he's saying to me, "Wow, what are you whooping about?" I said, "I didn't know I was this good."
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's kind of like going back and watching some of the stuff that you've done, like on camera, and going, "Oh my God, I really nailed that." Right?
Exactly.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's so cool. Well, and today, if somebody were to get in touch with you, you have a website and all these other things for the chronic kidney disease, and CKD that's what it stands for, is chronic kidney disease.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go ahead and pull that up. I think we have that already staged for us, and Nick's going to put that up on the screen.
Oh, great.
And then you'll be able to see that, so you can walk us through a little bit about.
Yeah, I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest.
And what is your @ symbol?
Slow it down, CKD.
All right. Slow it down, CKD.
Yes, which means you can't cure kidney disease.
No?
Not chronic kidney disease, but it doesn't have to be a death sentence. You can slow it down. So I talked about my kidney function being at 39%. Now it vacillates because it's viable. It vacillates between 45 and 52.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with your diet and, a lot to do with your diet and exercise, darn it, and sleep and lack of stress, no alcohol, no smoking. But you play the game, you do it right, and you get a bunch more years. My kids are getting, my daughter's getting engaged now, and I have others, and the one that's getting engaged is already planning her wedding, and then there'll be children, and my other 3, who knows,
Right. Well, and the important thing is that you're taking responsibility for your health. You're managing it, the way that you know best. And I'm assuming that your books, I haven't read any, but I am assuming
CKD is not your bedtime reading.
It's not. I would love a signed copy, but the best thing the best thing about that is that you are actually sharing your how you've managed it and succeeded, and also in your blogging, keeping it up to date.
Yes, lots and lots of research. Don't forget, I was teaching research writing.
Yeah.
So this did all dovetail, the research writing and the medical knowledge. Not that I have medical knowledge, and I keep reminding my readers, I am not a doctor.
Right.
You have to check anything I say that you want to do. You have to check with your doctor first.
Right.
And because CKD is so prevalent, it's like 31 million people in the United States.
You're kidding? That's 10%?
Yeah.
That's about 10%.
It's over 10%,
Yeah.
a little over 10%. It's coming out of the nephrologist's office. There aren't really enough nephrologists, the specialists. And in some instances, it's going into the primary care doctors. And then you really, really have to take responsibility for yourself, because they are not trained in this.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that's important. Make sure that you have access to a specialist.
Yes.
Yes,
and a renal dietitian. I mean, I have my readers all the time asking me, can I eat this? Can I eat that? Can I eat the other thing? And I keep saying to them, well, I can tell you what my renal dietitian told me, but you have to remember it's based on your labs. We take labs once every, I take labs once every 3 months. I can't speak for everybody else. And
is that the recommendation that your doctor gave you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that blood test and urine test every 3 months. But as I said, that's my doctor.
Right.
Some doctors say 6 months, some doctors say a year. It depends on your level and what your labs look like.
Right.
And I was going somewhere with the labs. On your labs depends on what your diet is. For instance, the things that have to be really, really watched and cut down on are potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and protein. But if your potassium is perfect, and mine always is, I can sneak in a banana every now and again.
Right.
You may not be able to if your potassium is sky high. And these electrolytes react on your kidneys. And the idea is not to push the kidneys, to baby them.
Okay.
That's why, sometimes you'll see, we'll go somewhere for lunch and I'm saying, okay, what's in this? What's in that?
Yep.
How is this cooked? How is that cooked? I don't really want to be a pain in the neck. And I never did this before I got kidney disease, but I want to live.
Yeah. Well, you need to. I mean, you got to manage that.
Yeah.
So who cares what the, maybe extra $1 or something like that in a tip.
Well, one guy finally said to me, is this a math test?
Yes, and you will be.
Yes, and you will be tested.
And by the way, I have a background in teaching education, so there you go. And my kids love me. So, so talk a little bit about, today, like where you're at today and what you're doing. And also, I understand that you're quite the swing dancer.
Not only swing, but blues.
Blues
yes.
dancing.
chronic kidney disease can make you very tired. So very often I'll say I'm going somewhere and then I can't go because I'm just too tired.
Yeah.
And I used to swing dance 2 and 3 times a week. Now I go to the blues once a week, go to Sustainable Blues once a week for a lesson, and then I think it's 2 hours of dancing. Energy is really something that I have to conserve.
Right.
When I do go blues dancing, it's an awful lot of fun. My mother was a blues dancer,
Okay.
and she didn't introduce me to it. I was, freestyle, hippie kind of thing, hippie wannabe. But I must have been in my 30s, and I realized we were having trouble in marriage then. And I was realizing that I wasn't having any fun. I was with the children, but no adult fun.
Right.
So I started going swing dancing. And then when I became divorced, I'm not one to go meet people,
Yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Right.
But I love to dance.
Oh, yeah.
So we would dance all over New York, and I was lucky enough to have a dance partner that I met at the Y when I was taking lessons for to learn more about swing dancing, to become better at it.
Right.
And he was a single parent. His son was at Cub Scouts or something at the Y the same time that my daughter was at singing lessons there. So we used that time to go take our swing dance lesson while the
Right.
kids were busy. And I remember clearly convincing him to come to Swing 46, which still exists, on Restaurant Row in New York City.
Okay.
And I said to him, "You're going to meet women. I promise you're going to meet women." And we danced like crazy, and he didn't meet a single woman, and he was so annoyed with me. And then I came out here, and I just plain missed the exercise. So, right away, there's a place that no longer holds swing dances called McAlpine's, downtown Phoenix.
Okay.
And I used to go there, and I met loads of people. And then I met Steve Conrad.
I love Steve Conrad.
Absolutely
He's
love
a
him.
fabulous swing dance teacher and comedian. a little bit of both, right?
And also a really fine human being.
Yes, I agree.
So I would follow, Steve had different venues at that time. It was way before Fat Cat. And then I would go to Fat Cat a lot, and then I got more and more tired. So I kind of like it when I walk into Fat Cat and Steve goes, "Gail, you're here."
Yeah, he's so cool because he remembers everybody's name. And he walked up to me, and I've only been to Fat Cat's maybe 4 or 5 times. And the second time I walked in, he's like, "Hey, what's up, MikeG? How are you, man?" And that's just the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
By the way, if you don't know what Fat Cat is, if you're in the Phoenix area, I recommend that you get out there on a Tuesday at 7:30. It's 32nd Street and Thunderbird, and say hi. Really, say hi to Steve Conrad. You'll love it. It's amazing. It's so much fun, and you'll definitely meet people.
The blues that I'm talking about,
Yeah.
it's called Sustainable Blues,
Okay.
and they also have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And when my daughter is the instructor, she gives a 1-hour lesson, and then there's free dancing afterwards. And she started at the blues bar. They're no longer there.
Right. Yeah. I remember she had told me about that. So we're gonna pull up her page real quick.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So people can take a look at that.
Now, when she told me it's in a bar, I said, "I don't think I want to come."
Really?
But the people there were very nice.
Yeah.
The Rocket 88s were the house band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're no longer the house band there either.
No. Well, they're a good band.
They're terrific.
Really good band.
And I believe that the Rocket 88s and Sustainable Blues are looking to work together again
Fantastic.
in the very near future.
All right. Well,
And that's all I'm at liberty to say.
well, so they're no longer at the Blues Bar, but they're now doing other venues and
Yes.
and actually looking for a home venue.
Yes,
that
I think
can do
they
that, so-
found one starting a week from Sunday.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
Yes.
And if you have Sunday evening free from 5 p.m. to I think 8 p.m.
Yeah, well, 4:45 to 8.
4:45 to 8 p.m. You'll be able to learn how to blues dance with just incredible dance teachers, and it's a lot of fun, and it's
Yes.
very cool. I really enjoy it.
The community, the blues dance community,
Yeah.
is a smaller community than the swing dance community, and they're pretty tight. I mean, you
Yeah.
walk in and it's, "Hi, how are you? What you been doing?" Swing dance community also very, very tight, but really large, because they've
Very
been in the
big.
Valley certainly longer than I have, which is 14 years.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, swing dance has become my favorite thing to do on a Tuesday night. You know, I mean, and I've missed the last 2 weeks because I had things going on. So, but next week is an open Tuesday unless I get a podcast that I end up having to do, and I'll be here.
Now, if only they would start at 5.
Come on, we should tell the truth about that. You know, and they go to 10 p.m., which is, you know, it's fine, but it's also pretty late for me.
Yeah, it's a workday night.
Yeah, you know, so I'm usually up at like 5 a.m. So
Whoa.
I got things going on. Yeah, I'm up early. Well, that is fantastic. Is there anything else you want to share about CKD?
Yes, it's far more prevalent than you think. Don't poo-poo it.
Is
But
there a certain age that you should get tested at?
if you are Black, Hispanic,
That's me.
I know, Black, Hispanic, Native American, by all means, Filipino, by all means, you're in a high-risk group. Get yourself tested.
Okay.
The test is very simple. It's a regular blood test and a urine test. There's nothing odd about it, nothing difficult about it. You probably get tested for something else anyway.
Right.
So just asking them to throw in this test also.
Okay.
I think it's called the CBC, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
So, ask your doctor about that.
Okay. And you're going to ask them, I want to get tested for CKD or
Yeah, for chronic kidney disease.
chronic kidney
Yeah,
disease.
just include
Dude,
that
we
test.
just want you to check that out for me. That's really. And what are some of the symptoms that we need to be aware of?
This is the problem. There are no symptoms.
You're kidding.
I had CKD probably for a year and had absolutely no symptoms.
Wow. So you just got to go and get tested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the two foremost causes of CKD are, the first one is diabetes, but certainly if you have diabetes, you're already being tested for this.
Right.
And the other one is hypertension. Now, how many people don't even know they have hypertension?
Yeah. I'm sure there's a gang of people that don't know. I know. I think I might have it. Who knows? I don't know. But I've also
Come to my house. I'll test it for you.
I've also changed my diet. I work out regularly now. I drink a ton of water, and I'm starting to slim down, and I'm starting to see the effects of that. I thought I was pre-diabetic, and I was, because anytime I would eat sugar, I would just crash, and not the kind of, sugar down. I mean, sugar in bed feeling ill.
Oh.
Yeah. Ice cream is my worst.
Sometimes it's not your diet. Like I have insulin resistance.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, my diet is perfect. I do that blood thing, prick your finger 3 times a day.
Yeah.
I take my blood pressure twice a day. And then if there's any time left, I go and live a life.
You didn't say you were a comedian.
Very few people know about that because my humor is so dry. I used to have a student, when I'd crack a joke, he'd say, "Joke, joke, joke," and the class would laugh on cue.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. So we'll definitely start to do that. And any other recommendations around that?
Let's see. We talked about the testing. Read all you can. And when you go to a doctor's appointment, have a list of questions ready and bring somebody with you to make sure that you not only get the answers,
Right.
but that you understand them.
Okay.
That's a pretty big deal too.
Okay.
And unfortunately, if you have CKD, your son, your daughter has a 50% higher chance of developing it.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
I definitely need to get checked.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I have 2 biological children, and they are checked chronically.
Yeah.
Whenever they go to the doctor, they're checked for this.
Okay.
And thank goodness it's not been a problem, but they're young. I mean, they're both in their early 30s.
Yeah.
So may they never, ever. This is one gift I do not want to give to my kids.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And the blog that you have, I'm going to check it out myself because I really am interested. The blog it will have a 2016 version here pretty soon, but you already have the book. And it's called Slow It Down CKD for 2015.
2015.
And these are your blogs?
This is the blog. These are the blogs in book form. And what I do is, for the print copy, I take out the hyperlinks.
Okay.
And I usually take out a lot of pictures, and I usually take out information about events that have passed. Like I'm always touting a free medical checkup,
right, or
a free blood check, or a kidney walk. Well, if it's passed already, why even mention it?
Yeah, go to the blog. That's the best place, because then you've got the links.
Yeah, these are all also in digital.
Okay.
And they do have the links.
Okay, perfect.
And periodically I'll go through and check the links and make sure that they're not expired.
Right.
I am learning an incredible amount through my research, to the point where on Twitter I actually have nephrology students, nephrology associations, nephrology doctors following me. And I mean, I keep saying, I'm not a doctor. I'm a patient, a curious patient.
Right. And you give great content.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
The better the content, I'm promising you, the more doctors will show up.
Well, going back to the blogs for a minute.
Yeah.
My readers have said that they're fun because I include personal stuff, but not to the point of, oh, we had dinner. It was blah, blah. After dinner, we let the dog out. Nothing like that.
Right.
But I will talk about, like, when she had cancer, she being the dog. That led me right into finding out what kind of cancer she had, researching that, and bringing that over to kidney cancer, if there were any similarities or any differences. And of course, there were differences because she had a canine cancer.
Right.
That's very, very rare in humans, although I just heard about a case of a man who also had mast cell cancer.
Oh.
So I don't really usually write about cancer.
Yeah.
But we have many, many friends, you and I, friends in common, who are in one program or another, like Prove It or It Works or I forgot what the pink thing is called, but different kinds of eating programs, taking supplements. And they brought them up to me, and I've examined each one ingredient by ingredient to see whether or not kidney patients can take them. And inevitably, there's one ingredient that's really rough on the kidneys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking for the magic cure too, but that's not it.
Right. And just one is harmful enough.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if so you need to avoid that, even just the one.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm at 39% kidney function, that's pretty bad.
It's pretty volatile.
I'm not willing to give up even 1%.
Right. Not for weight loss or anything else, unless it's giving you maximized health. Have you ever looked at? That's probably for another podcast when we talk to some other people about that. But again, agreed. You've got to manage your own health. Yeah, it's our own personal responsibility to rely on the knowledge that, look, you can Google anything. I mean, you can YouTube anything, and there are doctors out there that are talking about this, and we should probably get you into some kind of a podcast about this.
I thought about a series. I did think about a series. So, my nephrologist did recommend something to me. He gave it a name. I don't remember what it was. How many times have I said I don't remember? I don't remember how many times I've said that.
About 70 times. I'm kidding. I have no idea.
Well, basically what he told me is lay off the carbs and lay off the sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And very slowly, like 9 pounds in maybe 3 months, I see the weight coming off.
Yep.
And, instead of being glad that it's coming off, even though it's slowly, I keep saying to myself, my gosh, I must have been a sausage in these clothes before. How'd I get into them? He has humor in everything.
A sausage. I've got shirts that I really wouldn't even try, not even attempt, right? Like I've got clothing in my closet that I normally would never attempt to try to even wear. I wore them the other day.
How nice. Didn't it feel good?
It felt amazing, and I was shocked. Usually there was this one shirt that I would wear, and if I was standing, it was fine. But the moment that I sat down, all the buttons just pulled apart. And I wore it recently, and none of the buttons pulled apart, like none of them. And I was so thankful. And again, that's because I cut out the carbs and the sugar.
Well, I think you deserve accolades.
Thank you.
Reminds me of one of my readers who said to me, I was writing about this no carbs, no sugar thing. And I said, the thing I like best about it is the light feeling I have. And 2 seconds later, I get this reply, I want that light feeling. How do you do that? I want the light feeling. Hey, if that's what it takes to get you to do whatever you need to do for your health.
Yeah, exactly. You need to do it, and make a decision, get committed to it. That's it. I mean, really, I want to say it this way. You're worth it. You really are. Mm-hmm. So, so fantastic conversation. I really appreciate you coming in and talking to us. And are you up to any other acting? Anything coming up? Anything in the works? Anything?
I've gotten a couple of offers, but I've said no because I know what happens. I forget the lines, or worse yet, I'll juxtapose them, and then the next person who's waiting for the cue doesn't get the cue, and if they're not really sharp and on top of it, they don't know what to do.
Right.
I did a couple of very, very short little internet things about murders. They were cop procedurals, not real ones. I mean, they were fictional.
Okay.
And that was pretty good. I did not have a teleprompter, which I find disconcerting because I don't really see that well so far away. But I did have short scripts, really short, and I found that easier to memorize.
Yeah.
But I'm very conscious of the not memorizing thing. And, and people are always saying to me, well, take my product. Your memory will be fine. Take my product. Memory will be fine. Well, I may have a good memory, but no kidneys. No contest here.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's funny. And that's because you are looking at the ingredients to find out if those ingredients are...
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
Well, I've got a suggestion. I don't know if you've ever written on acting or written anything about acting, like the reader-friendly way to act. Right. But I think you would be brilliant at that. In your comedy, I think you could do stand up. I mean it. We've had conversations and I'm sitting there just going, oh my God.
I love it when I walk in the house and Bear gives me a big hug. Bear is my husband, gives me a big hug. Or we'll be lying in bed and I'm doing the kidney work on my iPad and he's trying to figure something out about he does a lot of woodwork from his iPad. He's looking something up, right. And he'll suddenly just grab my hand and rub it. I love that.
It's touch.
Oh yeah,
it's
I'm
connection.
Constantly hugging my children, grown children, constantly hugging them, grabbing them.
Oh man. And you give great hugs.
Thank you.
So thank you for mine, by the way.
You are so welcome.
I really appreciate that. You're a treasure. Do you know that? You really are.
Thank you.
You're a treasure, and I'm so glad to have had you on the podcast. Thank you for coming.
I appreciate that we have finally been able to get together. It's been a long time coming between your schedule and mine, and I appreciate having had the chance to sit and talk with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For the Edge podcast and for my good friend Gail, I'm MikeG. We'll see you next time.
Decoding visionaries and subcultures. The Edge Podcast with MikeG is brought to you by the following sponsors. Thank you for your support.